Hey there YouTube! Welcome to my review of Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness. This was one of the many JRPGs being released this year that I was excited for. I am quite familiar with this IP, first being introduced to it in my younger days on the original PlayStation. I have played Star Ocean: The First Departure, Star Ocean: The Second Story, and Star Ocean Till the End of Time, although I did not finish that last game. I have not played Star Ocean: The Last Hope yet, but it is on my backlog. I really enjoyed all the Star Ocean games I have played thus far, and as a warning, this review is going to be really biased. I'm probably not going to be very objective, so if that's what you're looking for, you might want to turn back now. Still here? Good. Star Ocean is developed by Tri-Ace and published by Square Enix. The game was released on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, but I will be reviewing the PlayStation 4 version. I spent about 33 hours playing the game since this review, and I plan on platinuming the game, so I expect an additional 30 hours or so to be spent on this game. So let's go ahead and talk about whether or not this game is good, or if it turned out to be a flop. I will also put my spoiler disclaimer right here, but I will try to spoil as little of the story as possible. When we first enter the world of Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness, I noticed how amazing the world looks. The landscape is stunning, the sky is beautifully done, and the characters' outfits are really detailed, albeit there are occasional clipping issues. The graphics really made a good first impression on me and got me really hyped to start playing. However, I was soon to be disappointed as I found quite a few shortcomings that affected the game negatively for me. The characters are done very well, but their lip sync was not. Characters will be talking, but their lip motion does not match the words being spoken most of the time, which unfortunately ruins a lot of the immersion for me. They have done a magnificent job with all the assets, yet they do not go all out and show what they can really do. What do I mean by this? There are 2 space dogfight scenes that happen, however none of this is animated. All they have are dots brought up on some fancy screen showing a dumbed down version of what is happening. That is really anticlimactic, especially when you have such nice voice acting and music putting me at the edge of my seat. This was uninspiring, and honestly they should have the technology to do this. The world was also too small. There were 5 towns including the Charles de Gaulle, 8 overworld zones, and 5 explorable dungeons after clearing the game. This is very little to explore and require that I pass through the same settings throughout the story, reducing the impact of the scenery. The game looks astonishing, but it lacks some variety and cinematics, but in my opinion it's probably one of the least important aspects of a good game. I think one of the 2 most important aspects of what makes a great game great is its gameplay, so let's talk about that next. This is the next thing a player experiences since the story is still developing. One of the highlights of gameplay was supposed to be the seamless transition between events, battles, and normal exploration. The transition was indeed seamless. However, this did not work for events, at least not for me. I prefer events to be movie-like, and the camera angle should be controlled by the game, putting emphasis on characters that are talking and controlling the point of view so I don't have to figure out where I should be looking. But it's left in the hands of the player. This forces me to divide my attention, causing scenes to have less emotional impact when learning about a character or holy cow moments. 99% of the time, I just stood there reading subtitles because I was afraid I might miss what someone was saying. Despite hating this mechanic for event occurrences, it worked amazingly well for battles. Players do not have to go through a random encounter to enter a battle, they just have to attack something and the battle starts. This change really impressed me and makes it come more in line with games today where battles just happen. It made gameplay feel very smooth and natural. The battle system is what I expected of a Star Ocean game. It was interesting to be able to use all 7 characters in the battle than my standard 4, and it also added something new to the combat. Tri-Ace also expanded on other features that were introduced in previous Star Ocean games. We have Reserve Rush, which is the next version of Bonus Battle Gauge, which is from Till the End of Time, or the Battle Bonus Board, which is from The Last Hope. It works the same way where you get bonus to experience full and SP based on how much the bar is filled. The extra spice they add is the Reserve Rush is a super ability for a character. Players must decide during a battle if they wish to expend the bar and use a powerful skill or keep all their resources and gain more bonuses after winning. I really like this added functionality since it forces the player to think about resource management and adds more depth to decision making in combat. You can also animation cancel, which is an old mechanic that was introduced in Second Story and Till the End of Time. Canceling works almost the exact same way as canceling worked in Till the End of Time. Each time an attack is cancelled, the power of the next attack is increased by 25%, maxing out at 100%. The only restrictions are that you can only cancel a total of 4 times and you can't cancel into the same basic attack. I really like this mechanic since it adds more depth to the battle by forcing players to learn how to do it, and it's really not that hard. Once players get it down, it allows for the highest DPS. Lastly, the guard ability has been altered. Players can now use this ability at will by pressing square and is no longer affected by stats. Guard works similarly to other Star Ocean games, but you now take significantly reduced damage and have to manually input a counterattack command. I actually don't like how they changed guard in this game. I liked it better when it was a stat because it wasn't something I had to worry about. Guarding feels slow and awkward since I can't cancel into it, causing my guard to usually fail and not come out. It also seemed useless because I was just able to get through the game spamming heavy attacks. For regular non-combat, we have quests and resource gathering, which were both introduced in Star Ocean Last Hope. The quests were rather annoying to do because there were too many of them. The rewards were mostly bad and I had to go out of my way to complete a majority of them. Trying to complete the quest turned into a real chore and really brought the gameplay enjoyment rating down. Welch's quests were one of the few that I actually liked, since those unlocked specialties and felt more rewarding. Resource gathering was a nice feature to have since I can gain extra materials while exploring. My only problem with resource gathering is that you have to rest at an end before the resource respawns. Overall, the gameplay feels rather bland. Trice's new addition to the battle system was good, but it was not cutting it. Battle feels stiff and awkward at times, since it forces me to get close to targets when I press any attack button. This has been a recurring pattern in all Star Ocean games, and I have never had a problem. But it's 2016. I should be able to attack without being forced to go to the enemy's face. It is time for a change. As I progressed further in the game, playing it felt more like a chore and nothing feels as rewarding as it should. In battles, it feels like I'm just soaking through damage sponges, and combat becomes boring very quickly. A majority of the skills are impractical, as the best skill in my opinion is a skill that's available at the beginning of the game, Double Slash. At least it's a solid 60 FPS on the PS4. Okay, so gameplay didn't turn out as well as I would have liked, but it can still be saved. The other most important factor that makes a great game great is the story. So the thing is, I don't have a problem with the story. I actually liked it, except for the corny scene during the final battle, but overall it was decent. I have no complaints. The story is based around a character named Relia, who is a life form that was created in a lab in order to become a living weapon. You find her pretty early in the game, and it's easy to tell that the game will revolve around her. She has a special ability, so the bad guys, Kronos, are after her. Vaguely similar concepts have been used in Till the End of Time and The Last Hope. But that's okay. I think they did Relia's story well because they took a different approach to the significance and resolution of Relia's obstacles. This differentiated it from previous Star Ocean games while still reusing the same basic idea, which brings me to my next point. What really bothered me the most were the characters in this game. So what is it about them? Let's talk about Mickey and Fidel, which are the two characters I absolutely despise. It seems like they literally copied and pasted Edge's and Remy's relationship from The Last Hope and did nothing with it. I don't have a problem with reusing concepts, but please do something different. There was no development in their relationship. The transition went by way too fast since it just happens out of nowhere. Show me how their feelings matured. Show me how Fidel's protective feelings matured into love. Just tell me anything. To make matters worse, after they confessed, it was never brought up again until the ending. So why not just save it till the end and actually build it up? The cast contains 7 total characters, which is the smallest cast introduced to a Star Ocean game thus far, yet I could not form a connection to most of them. There was not enough development in the main story, so I did not get to know the cast well enough. My opinion of this is most likely biased since I rarely do the PAs or private actions, and I'm sure they stuffed all the development and story in those scenes. However, I feel that the main story should establish and build a character enough for a player to understand and relate, and PAs should just add to that. PAs should not have to be used in order to find out who the character is and find their backstory, or at least the main idea of the backstory. That about covers everything I wanted to say. The game has some really good things going for it, and I could see it being one of my top JRPGs for 2016, but unfortunately it falls short. The lack of character development really hurt the storytelling since I didn't relate to the cast. If the bad guys are winning, I don't feel bad for our heroes, or if someone dies, whatever. Repetitiveness and lack of rewards for quests and performing battle mechanics correctly leads to boring gameplay. All of these small shortcomings really add up to hurt what could have been a really great game. I didn't mention anything about the soundtrack for the game, but they were really fitting and did enhance the scenes. Combined with stellar graphics, this definitely could have easily been one of my top games for 2016, but it just never picked up for me. This also hurts the replay value since a majority of the game is spent doing the same thing over and over again, and not having an emotional connection with the characters. I will most likely play this game in the future for nostalgia, but I don't think it would be anytime soon. This game currently retails at $60, and boy is it not worth it right now. I highly suggest borrowing the game from a friend who was unlucky enough to buy it, or rent it if they still offer those services. The game will definitely be reduced in price in the foreseeable future, and I probably wouldn't recommend spending more than $25 or $30 on this game. If you want to get it now, Amazon usually does a 20% off deal for Amazon Prime members, so you can probably get it for $48 if you think you'll like this game. So there you have it, guys. That is my opinion on the game, Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness, and as always, this is only my opinion. Please see for yourself if you like this game or not, and make your own call. What's up, guys? Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking the annotation on the left. If you are having trouble with some Star Ocean quests, you can check out some of my other Star Ocean videos I have by clicking on the video on the right.